I have some more interview clips to show you from earlier today. This time it's coming from Democrat Jamie Raskin, the intelligent, the wonderful Jamie Raskin. He was on Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC today, and they were discussing a variety of issues from, the 2024 election, House issues pertaining to funding for our allies abroad, specifically Ukraine, and of course Donald Trump's upcoming hush money trial, election interference trial that is beginning tomorrow, April 15th. In New York City. And, Jamie Raskin's just so eloquent. He just really lays out these issues in a way that's, palatable for your average American. I just really love the way he kind of goes about laying it all out. So I have two clips from this interview of Jamie Raskin today to show you. One where he is talking specifically about Donald Trump's hush money trial and the severity of that trial. But then another where he's kind of talking about how Donald Trump is driving the bus that is the Republican Party, right? He dictates where it goes. He dictates what policy gets a vote, what policy doesn't, what passes, what doesn't. He kind of controls these House Republicans as if they're pawns. And I think that's a very important point to make. So we're going to start with the latter clip first. I'm going to show you that right now. But before I do, make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. I greatly appreciate it. Just click the button. And it means a lot. So enough chit chat, enough talking. Here is that first clip from Jamie Raskin.
I don't even know how else to start other than when you were watching, if you watched or if you saw clips of Mike Johnson standing next to Donald Trump spouting lies about election integrity. What was going through your head?
Well, it reminded me of Kevin McCarthy's journey south to Mar-a-Lago, the $18 million palatial home Trump was bragging about, where he was on bended knee begging for Trump's support in raising money. Johnson is on life support in the House because under the MAGA rules, anybody can move to vacate the chair and basically topple the leadership just by unilateral direction. So Marjorie Taylor Greene can do it, Matt Gaetz can do it, Jim Jordan can do it. And so Trump likes having Johnson over the barrel because it controls him. And so, for example, on Ukraine aid, which is so central, Trump can keep Johnson from bringing Ukraine to the floor. We are begging Johnson to bring Ukraine
and it would pass.
aid to the vote. It would pass overwhelmingly with 60 or 70% of the votes. And so it means that Donald Trump is basically steering the bus. And of course, the person who's steering Donald Trump is Vladimir Putin. It's like Trump is the fourth branch of government and Putin's the fifth branch of government. And the Republicans can't do anything unless Trump approves it, and Trump can't do anything if his friend Vladimir Putin doesn't want him to.
Yeah. Ooh. Some fighting words from Jamie Raskin, but very true, right? We all saw that press conference that Mike Johnson did with Donald Trump the other day at Mar-a-Lago. He crawled his way back to Florida. He's like, Trump, Marjorie's being mean to me. Marjorie Taylor Greene, please get her in line. Please help my speakership. And, as Jamie Raskin talked about, Trump was very supportive of Mike Johnson, saying he's doing a terrific job, and that gives him kind of control of Mike. It allows him to dictate what Mike Johnson does. And when you're Speaker of the House, you have a lot of power. So that's a pretty big asset for Donald Trump. But it's just so pathetic. It's so pathetic how these Republicans come crawling back, as you mentioned, Kevin McCarthy did, and Mike Johnson's now doing to try to save themselves, save them from the perils of their own party, the people that they don't like in their own party. It is pathetic. It is. They really Donald Trump's always the end game for them, right? They always come crawling back to him. But I think the best point that he made was that Donald Trump is the fourth branch of government and Putin and Russia is the fifth, right? And there's so many different examples of this. I mean, we could talk about the fact that, Donald Trump was sitting at Mar-a-Lago one night and, got his phone out and pressed the digits in and got Mike Johnson and these other MAGA Republicans on the phone and was like, hey, I'm going to need you to kill that border bill that's kind of working its way through Congress. That's a good bill that members of both parties objectively agree with. It's a good bill. I'm going to need you to kill it for me. Yeah. It's like the whole thing I'm running on in 2024. And if the problem gets solved, then I don't really have anything to say. So I'm going to need you to get it done. And Mike Johnson's like, yes, sir. You got it. All these other Republicans, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll kill the bill. Which is also an entirely different issue. The fact that, we have people running for government who recognize that there's a problem and then kill the solutions to the problems because of political reasons. God, it's gross. And then, specifically pertaining to Putin, take Ukraine aid, right? Ukraine aid is actually very popular in Congress, contrary to what Donald Trump says or Marjorie Taylor Greene says. Ukraine aid is it gets a lot of support in Congress. Like Mitch McConnell, right, in the Senate is a big supporter of Ukraine aid, along with people kind of in line with him. It would pass swimmingly. But Mike Johnson won't do it. Mike Johnson will not bring it to a vote because, Trump doesn't want him to, because Putin doesn't want him to. It kind of goes down the chain of power there. Putin's like, no. If you give Ukraine aid, because when we give Ukraine aid and we actually support them, they do very well against Russia. When we don't, they have some trouble because they're not armed well enough. They don't have the facilities like we do in the United States to produce weaponry and kind of make those investments, and also be able to like ship weapons abroad. They just don't have the capability. So when they don't have that aid, Putin does better. When Putin does better, that Russia does better. And then, obviously he wants to control Donald Trump still. And it's a whole thing. It's like there's a whole line that it goes down of, when a bill can actually pass or when it gets a vote and when it doesn't. And you're seeing that with something like Ukraine aid. Like Putin doesn't want it, so then Trump doesn't want it, and then Mike Johnson doesn't want it. There's like as I mentioned, a chain. There's so many different things of which this happens with. And it almost makes me think that why do we even have like Republican members of Congress, right? Why don't we just have all the Democrats and then like Donald Trump? Because all Donald Trump does is gets policy to be killed, good policy to be killed. So we're basically, not that we actually should have Donald Trump as a member of Congress. I want to make that clear. That would be disastrous. It'd be bad for everybody involved. But we're basically, as Democrats, operating with one man, like negotiating with one man, because every significant policy we want to pass, that's not even just like a liberal policy. It's kind of a policy that helps the country. We have to go through basically Donald Trump. We're basically negotiating with one man every single time we want to do something. And I think like Jamie Raskin is making a good point when he says we have these like two additional branches of government. We got to make sure that it passes the Putin check, make sure it passes the Trump check before we can even start having conversations with the other side to get a policy passed. And look, I talk about this frequently, but I really do think that this is something that people should take into account in 2024. Like I'm always like kind of like giving a list of things like, okay, make sure you're keeping this in mind. But this is very important because like we shouldn't have leaders who have to like do these mental gymnastics to justify their positions and then justify not bringing votes or bills to a vote on the House floor. And also, not taking orders from Putin, right? From what Putin wants. We shouldn't have leaders who do all of those things. We should have leaders who are like, yeah, this is a good policy. It helps America. It helps the people in America. That's why we support it. And that's why we're going to pass it as Ukraine aid does, as an immigration bill does, as all these other bills that are being held up do as well, that Mike Johnson's blocking because Donald Trump wants him to block it. It's just like, this is really important. We shouldn't, when you're voting for like MAGA Republicans in 2024, at least the way I'm thinking about it is that you're like voting for Trump, Putin, and blocking any good bill. Whereas like if you're voting for Biden, you're voting for like good investments into infrastructure, good policy, good things that help people. I think that difference is very clear. You see it in what we just talked about, what Jamie Raskin was talking about. And, vote for the people who care about America, not the people who care about like Putin and Trump, right? So that was stellar. Loved it from Jamie Raskin. As always, he's just fantastic. I actually met him recently when I was just walking around DC. He was a great guy, like genuinely like a nice person. Stopped for a photo. We chatted for like a minute. He's a busy man though, but he's a great guy. So again, amazing clip from Jamie Raskin. Let's move on to the second one where he is talking about Donald Trump's criminal trial that is starting tomorrow. First in American history, former president/president on trial. Never happened before. And, he's talking about how Republicans are framing the discussion around this trial on their side of the aisle, at least. And I think he kind of hits it right on the head. So here's that clip of Jamie Raskin.
We only have a minute left, but you're the best framer of history in the moments we're in. So as we look to this week, a criminal trial starting tomorrow, how should we think about this moment in history? Well,
Trump's people would like to trivialize and diminish the meaning of this trial, but in fact, it's perfectly emblematic of the others that are out there. They're all about electoral interference and manipulation. They tried it with violence, and we're going to see that in the D.C. case. They tried it with fraud. We're going to see that in the Georgia case. And here, they tried it with payoffs and then cooking the books. Financial manipulation. That's what it's about. It's a very serious case. And I think the Trump people are going to be shocked how tuned in America is to what's going on here.
Yeah, again, very well put. I think the big point there is that all of Trump's people, all of the people on the MAGA Republican side are doing everything they can to try to downplay this trial. They are saying it's not that significant. The charges are nothing. It's like, whoa, what's this all about? It's no problem. It's like, no. This is a very serious trial. Don't listen to anybody, at least in my view, this is my opinion. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that this is not a significant trial, that it's just like a slap on the wrist. And certainly don't listen to someone who says that it's politically motivated, because it's not. It's just, there's evidence that Donald Trump broke the law. He was indicted because of it, et cetera, et cetera. You know the whole thing by now. But it's a very significant trial. If you or I falsified business records to try to help somebody in an election, like completely, as he said, cooked the books completely, we'd be going to jail. We would be going to jail. We'd be going to jail for a long time, especially like 34 counts, 34 felony counts of cooking the books. We'd be going to jail. But since it's Donald Trump, the MAGA Republicans are, oh, it's no big deal. What? Okay, even if he's convicted, he falsified some records, who cares? That's what they're saying. That you're going to inevitably hear that, but that's what they're saying right now. It's like, no. It's like, no, this is a very serious criminal trial. This is very real stuff. And their attempts to try to downplay it I really think are going to backfire in the end, because the American people are going to be looking at them like, wait, I'm sorry. Let's just say Donald Trump's convicted. The American people are going to be looking at them like, sorry, your guy was just convicted of like 34 felonies and you're trying to tell us that this helps his campaign or that it's not that big of a deal. So it's a very serious case. Again, don't know anybody who's like a serious legal analyst who's kind of like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We also don't even have all of the evidence yet against Donald Trump in this case. We have the indictment and what's kind of been public before, but we're going to get a whole different trough of things in the upcoming months of this trial. We're just going to see so much evidence. So the entire case is going to play out. We don't even know what the real case is, all the evidence is. So, as Republicans are trying to, on one side, say, hey, this is not a big deal. And on the other side, the Manhattan DA and all these prosecutors are like, yeah, so Donald Trump did X, Y, and Z. It's going to be quite the contrast. You're going to see two different stories being told in two different realms of the country. And I believe truly that the realm of the courtroom will speak louder than like what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying at a rally, at a swing state at some point, So yeah, really loved these clips from Jamie Raskin. Both very important points that he is making. So glad that he is making them along with other Democrats, and specifically the hush money trial, the election interference trial, as it's better known as, will certainly get more media attention as we go. And man, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited to see what happens. I know you are too, and we'll talk about it more. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up this video for now. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about the video. Share it with anybody you think needs to see it. And as always, I greatly appreciate your support, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.